Welcome back to another Black City coffee vlog. In this video, we're having a little coffee break. I just woke up from a nap, I feel energized again, and we're having a little bit of decaf since it's quite late in the afternoon, almost 5. And these are just from my personal store, so thank you for your pre-orders of our Colombian sugarcane decaf. And as you can see, brewing a little Aeropress on our new Honor the Cup mugs. And I just shipped these out this week, so you should be receiving your mugs probably in the next week or so. And the reason why I chose this type of style of mug is because I do a daily brew of Aeropress. So this is my daily brew of choice. One, because it's super simple. I don't really have to measure stuff. I eyeball everything. I know James Hoffman just released a super series on the Aeropress, and I love that the Aeropress is getting so much attention and love right now because it really is a really awesome brewer. And I think it kind of cuts through some of that like snooty booty attitude of what coffee can be sometimes, which I think deters a lot of people from trying light roasts and things like that and really cling to like nostalgic coffee and stuff, is maybe because they get intimidated by the Chemex or pour over and things like that. And yeah, that's kind of silly. And I understand that though, because like coming into say whiskey or wine, you know, it looks really intimidating to get into that world, but it's really just about tasting good things, tasting good coffee, wine, whiskey, things like that. I want to take this coffee break to kind of talk about grounds for health. Why Honor the Cup became such, I don't know, it just started to pick up momentum with me. And how this came about, I was thinking of things of, you know, what does Black City coffee really mean to me? When it first started, it was something that was just like, cool, coffee, good, I like it. I could do that forever. And I didn't really have anything deeper than that. And I mean, at the time I was like, I don't think I need anything deeper than that because coffee is great on its own anyway. And I don't think you need to go deeper if it, you know, doesn't bring you more worth. But I think for me, just after the things that I've gone through in the last 4 months, and at that time it was like 3 months when I was thinking of this phrase, Honor the Cup. And I was thinking of ways when I was going through my accident of how I could give back, because I was so moved by everyone who was supporting me through this time, from people in the coffee industry to mentors and coaches and friends from long ago when I first started to create content like this, talking to camera and speaking my truth. I thought, wow, and the support that I was getting was just like, a lot of was from strangers, a lot were from people that I hadn't talked to in forever, and I was incredibly moved by how giving these people were. And when I was sitting there in bed in this very room thinking, I don't think I was the type of person to be as giving and compassionate as these people who were giving to me and supporting me. And it broke my heart to see and realize that I had not been as compassionate. So I started to think of ways of how I could remedy that. And moving forward, I knew that after reading this really long letter from Steve Green of Mill City Roasters encouraging me to move past the pain, and I was like, man, from now on I'm gonna be better. How could I give back? You know, and how could I move from a place of compassion? And not only coffee, because I think coffee has an incredible vehicle to bring attention to things because it's so universal. And then how could I just be more compassionate in just everything that I do? At first it was, how could I give back to these people? I'll send them coffee. Cool. And it kind of like made me feel a little less maybe guilty about how much love and support I was receiving at that time, which was kind of the wrong way to think about it. But there was just a natural human reaction to that of how much support I was getting. So I began to ponder and think, well, I'm going to do something. And if you guys look back at my vlogs when I started to roast again, coming off the accident, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, is it an event? Is it giving away free coffee? And I think I did that, and I was just like, this doesn't feel like enough to me. I needed something for me to feel like I had changed. Like I had put action to words instead of just saying I'm going to be more compassionate and stuff like that. And it wasn't just about paying back someone. It wasn't about that. It was like, oh yeah, okay, you gave me a donation and now I give you coffee. Like, it didn't feel like me fully receiving people's support. It felt like I'm giving back because I think I owe you, which is totally not what I want to be doing or feeling. And I know that the people who gave to me gave not with the intention of receiving something back, because that's not a gift. You know, if you give a gift, it means, hey, here, take this. I hope you are well with it and go. You know, like, take it with love. It's not that I intend to give so I can get something back, which I think that's sort of a toxic mentality of looking at things. And that's how I was approaching people, thinking I had to give something back. When I stopped and think about it, if I were the person giving, I would really just want to give from my heart and let that person know, like, no, I'm giving this to you. No strings attached. So I had to change my mentality around it and receive all the support and love that I was getting, and continue to receive with love and fully receive it, like fully accept it. For some reason, ego, fear, shame, guilt, and all these things were kind of getting in the way of not letting me being fully accepting of other people and letting other people in that way. I began to wonder how I was going to give back in a way that was authentic. I just started to play with that idea. Like, I feel like every time I get to roast, it's such a great opportunity. Like, I don't want to screw it up. Like, I'm so excited, and I'm also kind of nervous and scared whenever I get an order, because I'm like, ooh, here's another one I get to improve. And then in the same vein, here's another way that you can mess up. Because if you don't pay attention, if you don't hit these numbers the way that you need to hit them, or lower the heat or manage it or whatever it is, yeah, you could screw up the coffee. And just, there's so much work that goes into coffee before it gets to the roaster. And when I learned that 2 years ago, when I first got into roasting, it really did blow my mind, and I didn't know how to take that information and share it with everyone so that everybody could really understand the gravity of how good coffee, specialty coffee, comes to us at the price that it comes to us, and how much of a bubble that we live in here in the United States. And, you know, I'm not trying to guilt trip anybody. You know, as we live here in the United States, it's a blessed life. I think we should be grateful for it and take advantage of what we can take advantage of. And just to realize that there are other realities outside of us where, like, whoa, just by comparison, it should just make you feel grateful, which is what I feel all the time. So piece by piece, it was sort of like cold dripping in my brain of this idea of how to give back in a very short amount of words. I wanted one word, but as always, I'm long-winded, so we got like a phrase. And I was like, man, it's such an honor to roast. I just kept feeling that. And at the end of the day, when you go to roast, if you're into roasting, sometimes, if you may know, you'll roast something where maybe you'll have the perfect data, right? Any roaster will tell you who's worth their salt is like, cup it, make sure, right? Cup it, make sure what's in the cup. Does it taste good? Because data can say all these things, but it's really what's in the cup, right? Another thing that kind of distilled into me is, of course, the farmers who take such care of their coffee and process it in a certain way where they're able to accentuate their origin, their terroir, ready for grading and all that stuff, so that the origin of that coffee is preserved and shows up after you roast it, right? After you roast it correctly, that is. It was honor blank cup, and I changed it to honor the cup, as in the cup, like what's in it. Not this mug, but the coffee that's inside. And when we talk about cupping and roasting, we go, this is a clean cup, or what's in the cup, or cup, so we have this sort of verbiage. And we're talking about the origin of flavor when we're saying this. Yeah, I just kept writing things and workshopping things out and designing things and what looked good together as well, of course. So I'm always sort of considering what the design was going to look like. Is it going to look good on a mug? Does it look good as a phrase? Those things that were sort of swirling around in my mind, was like, there you go. That's my deeper meaning. Like, I feel like that I've evolved into this place where it's really summarized how I feel now about coffee, being only 2 years in-ish, 2.5 years in, to when I first started roasting with the hot top. I just felt incredibly honored. I was spending, when you're buying like 1 or 5 pound green coffee bags, it's very cheap. You're like, dope, cool, I'm gonna save a lot of money roasting coffee for myself. So it's not that I felt that I was wasting money, but the fact that I knew where these green beans were coming from and how much work it took to get there. When I first educated myself, I was like, oh my gosh, it's an honor to be able to roast this for myself. And I did feel that back in the day. And I'm so happy that finally, after all this time of like really trying to figure out who am I as a roaster, who is Black City Coffee as a company, and how are they going to be, how it's presented in the world and how we show up in the world, I feel like that really captures the essence of who we are. We really just want to step up to the plate for roasting and make sure that we don't screw it up. That's my non-PC of saying, what it means to me when I say honor the cup. Like, don't screw it up. Honor what they did and roast the best coffee that you can roast at this time. I know I'm always going to get better as I move forward, and I will make mistakes. It's never going to be perfect, but that's so good because it always gives me something to strive for. Okay, let's talk about Grounds for Health. I chose Grounds for Health based on a couple of things. One, I wanted it to be a valid charity, right? So sometimes I would hear things about charities, and I got turned off to charities very early on in my life because some of them were scams, and I didn't really have the motivation to go and research the right charities. So obviously, now that I was emboldened with this new phrase, honor the cup, I wanted to, whether we were going to sell mugs or not, I was trying to using that as a vehicle to help me propel this idea that I was going to give to charities and to help people understand our new mission at Black City Coffee. But for me, I was just going to, regardless, donate to a charity in a small way every month, and just no matter what, right? So no matter what, I was going to donate a small amount of our proceeds to a charity. And I knew I wanted to give back to a charity that focused on women, just because I knew that a lot of women were involved in the picking and processing of green beans. And I was like, I know there's something out there. So I just kept digging, I kept researching, and I found this company. So Grounds for Health, which is also a member of the SCAA, which is the Specialty Coffee Association of America. So cool. They kind of like, they were passing a lot of validity markers that I needed to feel comfortable giving my money to if I was going to do it on a monthly basis. If you go to their website, which I'll link in the description, you can see all of their financials. You can feel assured that your money's going to the right place, or hopefully. So their mission is to reduce cervical cancer among women in developing countries. So I think this is great because they're targeting a problem that the solution is very It's very doable. You know, it's basically a screening. So setting up a lot of preventative and screening measures. And this is actually within my degree. So if I would have stayed within my degree, which was health science, and it was formulating programs, working with charities, working with nonprofits, providing screenings, providing programs and educational materials for people who are uneducated about this type of stuff, like getting screened, educating communities about the medical process and health. It kind of worked out. I always thought my degree was kind of quote unquote useless, but I really did learn a lot. And now I was like, cool, I'm like full circle. Their vision is a world in which all women are protected from the threat of cervical cancer by timely and high quality prevention services. Yeah, that was right up my degree. We were always talking about preventative measures, programs, education, things like that. And here I am making content on it. That's so funny to me. Ethiopia, Kenya, Mexico, Nicaragua, Peru, and Tanzania. In the US, when you hit a certain age, all women get an HPV vaccine. And you got to go for like 2 or 3 rounds, I forget, before you're immune. And boom, right there, that really severely reduces your risk for contracting cervical cancer. So in a way, I'm sort of like, I've checked that off my list. It's something you just do. You don't even think about it. You go to your doctor, whatever, they take care of it. And there's so many other women out there beyond, all the other diseases out there. This is one that is highly treatable as long as it's detected early, and the detection is very easy. And so I love that they've chosen something where the solution is very doable and within their scope of reach. And it's not this crazy, impossible thing where you can really see the numbers change on a month-to-month basis. So I like being a part of that kind of charity where it feels like you're doing something, it feels like you're making a lot of great progress, where, say, perhaps it's not something like Alzheimer's is such a tough one, right? It's which is something my grandmother is going through. So which is like, it's so hard to find the cure for that, and the progress on that type of disease is much, much slower. So this is very cool. And if you look through who else is a donor, they have like huge donors, like people who they'll list on the site, like who donate over $10,000. So Swiss Water Process, right? We sold some Swiss Water Process decaf here for a minute. Oh, no, we didn't. Sorry, you didn't. You didn't. I did. I got Swiss Water Process decaf. $10,000 patrons. There's Pete's Coffee. There's Starbucks. Oh, Sweet Maria's was on here, and I thought that was so cool too. I was like, oh, cool. That guy I know does all his research, and that's what that sold me when I saw Sweet Maria on here, because you know how Sweet Maria's is. Yeah, so even though we're a very small piece of the pie, I just felt very proud and comforted knowing that I was associating with these other companies as well. Yeah, that's Grounds for Health. And yeah, just know that your purchases and donations are going to this cause, and my goal is to keep increasing that monthly donation amount every year. As we grow, I want to grow in our donation and give more. Just kind of spearhead all the things that we're going to do. And I feel that we are growing this year with all of your guys' help, and I want to say thank you again to just some really great, nice comments in YouTube. In emails, I get some emails from you guys as well, and even you leave some notes for me when you make an order, and it really does warm my heart. It really gives me a lot of great, warm, fuzzy feelings, and I hope you feel my energy back to you when I make this content. I get so excited to make this content, and then you guys engage back with me, and it's super fun. So yeah, that's that's the story behind Honor the Cup. I hope you like your guys' coming. They're coming in the mail. I think they're great. They're the perfect size. I hated big mugs that were kind of like this, and they didn't feel stable when I did my Aeropress. So I really, was looking for this type of design where it's kind of blocky and the handle's a little small because my hands are a little smaller. I would actually like this handle to be even smaller, just a little bit. I love the way they turned out. If you look at the print of Honor the Cup. And our logo is pretty intricate. They nailed it. Like, this company nailed it. And I just love working with them. I actually lost a box of mugs. I didn't lose it. UPS lost them. So we don't have all the mugs in that I ordered. But they're going to send them in next week right away. And the quality of this is just awesome. And I've been drinking out of these vacuum insulated metal mugs that you typically use those for camping and stuff, right? So they don't get dinged or they don't break. And I've been drinking out of that for years. And I didn't know that the metal was kind of tweaking the way my coffee tasted. And I did recognize it, but at the same time I would just ignore it. And when I started drinking out of the sample cup that I got a few weeks back before I received the real deal, I was like, oh, like I could taste more. It doesn't feel so, I was getting this sort of metally thing on the back end when I was comparing them from my metal mug to this ceramic mug. And I was like, oh crap, I've been drinking out of the wrong mug for so long. And it was just because I loved the shape of it, because it had the same shape as this. And so now finally I have the right mug. And this was our first mug. Let me show you. This was our first mug. And this only holds like maybe 8 ounces. The printing was really poor, just very fuzzy. It's metal as well. And the worst part about this mug is this metal ring. It's very poor sealing from this material to this material. So whenever you wash it, water will seep in here and then slowly drip down and be rusty. And that's disgusting. So I was like, we're not doing that again. And I had one customer who bought one of these because I took it off immediately off the site when I found out that it's a crappy mug. It also stains really easily. But yeah, this was our first one. It was just through like Printful. It was like, oh, but just put your logo on some stuff, you know? I'm so glad that we came about our first piece of merch, this, and it has such depth to it now instead of just, hey, put your logo on this and sell it. And I learned my lesson with that, where it's like, yeah, that whenever I create something, I don't want it to just be put your logo on it and sell it. It feels so empty, and this is what you get, some really crappy product. When you're not conscious about what you're doing. So yeah, that was a nice little lesson, and I have it here, and all I do is spit into it when I cup. That's it. Thanks for hanging out with me on this coffee break. Kind of a long one, as always. Are you surprised? Don't be. Like this video if you did. Subscribe for more content like this, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.